Okay. So my screen is visible to all of you students, right? My screen visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
So last class we discussed uh, how to read and write data from memory. So this diagram is showing how MDR is connected to the internal bus and the single bus processor architecture, and the other end it is connected to the memory. Okay. And this MDR is attached with four flag values. So in the right hand side, it has two flag values: MDR out, MDR in, and in the left hand side it has two flag values: MDR out E and MDR in E. So this is E for external, because this side MDR is connected to the external memory, and this side MDR is connected to the internal bus. And this is for the single bus processor architecture. And last class we were discussing the single bus processor architecture. So we discussed how instructions are executed in single bus processor architecture. Okay. So now we will discuss execution of a complete instruction in a single bus processor architecture. And we will take one example. So this is the example: add R3 R1. Okay, R3 is written within bracket. So can you tell me what's the meaning of this instruction? So R3 is actually, it is a R3 gives the address of a memory location. Okay? I told you many times that whenever the register is written within the bracket, that means it's memory location. Okay. So here data will come from the address given by this register R3, and that will be added with the data of this register R1, and the result will be stored in the register R1. Okay. So here the two source operands are: one operand is from the memory, this is from the memory, and the other source operand is R1, and destination operand, destination location is this R1 register itself. Okay, so this is the register transfer notation for this instruction, can see. So data, first data is taken from this memory location, then second data taken from this register R1, and then they are added and the result is stored in the register R1. Okay. So now we will discuss the control steps which are required to execute this instruction in a single bus processor architecture. So in a complete instruction execution, first of all the instruction need to be fetched from the memory. Okay. And the instructions address is present in the program counter. So program counter, this is the single bus processor architecture. Okay. So the address of the first instruction will be given by this program counter, and that address will come from this program counter to this common bus, and from this bus that will be loaded into this MAR register. Okay. And when the address is loaded in the MAR register, MAR is connected to the memory by using the address lines, address bus. So the particular location in the memory will be identified, and after that, this control unit will generate a read control signal, and then processor will wait for a MFC signal, memory function completed signal, that is WMFC time it will wait. Okay. And after that the instruction will come from the memory through this MDR. Okay. So instruction will come to the MDR, then from MDR will go to this bus, then from this bus will go to the IR. Okay. And at the same time the PC value must be incremented to point to the next instruction. So PC will be PC plus 4. Okay. And that value also be inserted into this register, so that the address may be used by some other instruction. Okay. Or if the instruction is a branch instruction, that the destination address may be calculated here in the ALU. Okay. So this is the case for the instruction fetching. Okay. And after the instruction is fetched, then what to do? Then you have to fetch the operands. Okay. If the operand is present in the general purpose registers, then it can be taken directly, no problem. If the operand is present in the memory, then you have to follow the same step as you follow for you followed just to fetch the instruction from the memory. Okay. So the actions to execute this instruction, okay, the control steps are written here in this table. You can see these are the steps. Total 7 number of steps are there, and out of these 7 steps, these 3 steps are used for fetching the instructions itself from the memory. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. These are used to fetch the instruction. Okay, fetch the instruction from the memory. And after fetching, see here in this case, first of all we have to fetch this instruction. Then after fetching the instructions, the instruction will be loaded here into register IR. Okay. Then it will be decoded, and then operand will be fetched. So operand, the first operand is here in the memory, so we have to fetch from memory. And second operand is present in the register R1, so we have to fetch from R1. Okay. Then they will be added and result will be showed in R1. So first of all we have to fetch this instruction. So these 3 steps, step 1 and step 2, 3, these are used to fetch this instruction. Okay. So first of all, as I told you, that the address of this instruction will be given by the program counter, this one. So we have to activate this PC out flag. So PC out flag is activated first. So then when this is activated, so the value, I mean the content of this register PC will go out from this PC register to this bus. Okay. And then from this bus, that address need to be loaded into this MAR register. That's why you can see here MAR in is activated. Okay. Then when the address is loaded in MAR, then that particular address in the memory is identified. So after the location is identified in the memory, a read signal must be generated by the control unit. So that's why here read is written. Okay. And then after that, the program counter value must be incremented by 4. Okay. To point to the next instruction. Okay. That's why here select 4, you can see select 4 means here this multiplexer output will be this constant value 4. Okay. Then add means whatever value address, the actual address, previous address or previous value of this program counter is already present in this bus. So that value will be taken by this ALU here on this side, and 4 is taken from this side. So that is added, that value is added with this 4 to point to the next address. Okay. And that will come to here to Z register. Then from Z to will come to this common bus. Then it will go to again for the further processing. Okay. Now you can see here. So select 4, then add Z in. Okay. Then Z out. Then again PC in. So it goes to the PC in, because it will point to the next address. Okay. Next instruction. That's why the incremented address goes to this PC. Okay. PC in. Okay. And then Y in is activated, because if we require that address here also, Y in also, that's why for that purpose is activated. Okay. So we actually already here we had given, I mean the control unit had given this read signal to read the instruction from memory. Okay. And and after doing this, the processor has to wait a certain amount of time till the instruction is fetched from the memory. The instruction is read from the memory, because it will take some time, because the instruction may be present in the cache memory, or it may be present in the main memory, that is RAM. If it is present in the cache, it will come immediately. If it is present, not present in cache, that means it is present in the RAM, so it will take some time. Some more time will take. That's why some amount of time it has to wait. Processor has to wait. That's why WMFC is written here. Okay. And after this MFC signal, memory function completed signal is received by the processor. That means the data has read. Okay. And the data is ready in the MDR. So data comes from the memory to LDR. Okay. MDR. It has already come to the MDR. Data means the instruction is now in the form of data. Okay, MDR. So instructions come to the empty MDR, that first instruction, and then we need. ठीक है? Okay. Okay. So so the instruction is fetched from this memory, and that comes to this MDR. Okay, and from MDR it should go to this common bus. Then from this bus it will go to this IR register. Okay. So if you want to take from MDR, then MDR out should be activated. That's you can see here MDR out is activated, and after MDR out is activated, the instruction will go from this MDR to this common bus. Then from this common bus, it will go to the IR. So IR in must be activated. That's why you see IR in is activated. Okay. So till these three steps, step one, step two, and step three, the instruction is fetched, and now the instruction is present here in the instruction register IR. And then from this instruction register, the instruction will be taken by this instruction decoder and the control unit. Okay, so this control unit has a instruction decoder logic inside it. So that will be used to decode this instruction. Decoding means what the meaning of instruction is, that will be known here. Okay, means what to do, whether addition should be done, or subtraction or multiplication, whatever will be done, that will be known here at this step. Okay, so this will do that, this hardware. So then with the instruction is fed, then the instruction is decoded here. So we here know that the this instruction is for addition, and there are two operands. One operand is present in the memory, and the other operand is present in the register, and these two operands will be added, and the result will be stored in this register R1. Okay. So we have to take these operands. Okay, so first operand we will fetch. This first operand is in the memory because it is R3 is written within the bracket. That means it is in memory. So if we want to fetch this operand from memory, we have to follow the steps. So first of all, this is address. Okay, R3 contains the address of a memory location. So we have to take this address and load this address in the MAR register. So that's why first you have to activate this R3 out. So whenever you do this R3 out, so the address from this address means the data in the R3 is the address. Okay, so that will come from this register R3 and go to this common bus. Okay, and then we have to load that address into the MAR register. That's why we have to make this MAR in activate. Okay, and then whenever the address is loaded into this MAR, then that particular address in the memory is identified. So after that, after the memory location is identified, this control unit will generate a read control signal. Okay, for reading that operand. That's why here read control signal is written. Okay, and then what to do? Then R1 out is done because we need the second operand. So whenever this R1 out, see here read signal is given and the processor will wait. Okay, and in the meantime R1 out is done and Y in is also done. So when R1 out is done, that means the register value R1 can go to this common bus, and then Y in is also activated. That means the register value R1 will go to this Y in register. Okay, so we then here you see at this point WMFC signal comes. I mean, wait for memory function completed signal at this point comes. So when this signal comes, that means the data from the memory has come, and now that is present in the MDR. Okay, in the MDR data is present. Okay, so we have to bring that data. Okay, yeah, to this bus, and from this bus here will come to this input of the ALU. Okay, the first R1 value is coming through this path. Okay, to this A input, and this data from memory. Okay, it is coming through this bus to this B input. Okay, so you see MDR out is done. Okay, data will come from memory to this bus, then Y in. Okay, sorry, select, then select Y. Select Y means already we have the R1 value here. Okay, so select Y means this multiplexer will select this value, Y value, and that will come here, and then R. So whenever you give R command, So it will add, it will take the first operand from this input, and the second operand will take from this bus. So the second operand in the bus is the this data from this memory location value. Okay. Then it will add the values, and then the result must be stored here in Z register. That's why ZIN is done. Then that data must go to this common bus. Then from common bus it must go to the register R1. Okay, that's why I see Z out is activated. Then from Z out data will go to the common bus. Then from common bus it must go to the register R1. That's why R1 is done. Okay. So if you do this R1 in, that means data goes to the register R1. Okay. Then end signal is given. Okay. End means the instruction execution is complete. Okay. So this is the complete instruction execution, the steps for the complete instruction execution. Okay. These are the control steps. Okay. Sequence of steps for the execution of this instruction add R3 and R1. And here this instruction is for addition of the two operands. The first operand is in memory and second operand is in the register. Okay. And the result is written here in the register. Okay. Is that clear? You may get question. See, if I change here, if I write R1 within bracket, then what's the meaning of this instruction?
Sir, both the operands are in memory.
Yes, both the operands are in memory, and also the result also be is to be written in the memory also. Okay, we have already discussed fetching word from memory and writing word in memory. Okay, so that thing is actually used here. Here these steps, step 4 to 7. Okay, this is for reading. Okay, reading and adding, reading data from or reading operand or word from the memory and then adding. Okay. Similarly, if I do here, if I keep R1 inside the bracket, that means you have to again follow this step. MAR, then MAR in, then write you have to write, and then the same steps you have to follow. Okay. But not this, not add. Add you have already done. Are you getting me what I'm saying? If I do here, if I keep R1 within bracket, then what more extra steps I have to write here? Can you tell me? So this is homework to you. Okay, you do this at home. Okay. And remember, for all the instruction, these three steps are same. These three steps are same. One, two, three. These three steps are same for all any type of instruction. If you are given in exams any type of instruction, here in this case it is add R3 R1. So whatever is their instruction in exam, you get any type of instruction, and if you are asked to write the steps of execution, okay, control steps for complete execution of the instruction, then you just remember these three steps. These three is compulsory. So you have to write these three steps for every instruction, and then from the step number 4 onwards, it will be changed.
Sir,
Okay.
can
Yeah.
you once more tell what is select for?
Yes. So this is a multiplexer, right? So multiplexer takes multiple inputs and will give one output. Okay. So this is a register, temporary register Y. So it takes data from this common bus. Okay, and data is coming to this Y register. And this multiplexer is taking two inputs. One input it is taking from this Y register, and the other input it is taking a constant value, that is 4. Okay. So this is there is a select input, okay, given to this multiplexer. You, I don't know whether you remember or not. You, yes, you had a subject digital electronics, right? So in digital electronics you must have read multiplexer. In multiplexer there is a select input. Okay, that select input will select any one of the inputs, so that will be the output. Whatever it selects, that will be the output from this multiplexer. So this select input will select any one of these inputs, and that be will go as output. Okay. So if I say select 4, that means the output from this multiplexer will be 4. If I select Y, that means the output from this multiplexer will be this Y value of Y register. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So multiplexer is a digital circuit that takes multiple inputs and gives one output. So here, this is the LU arithmetic and logic unit. it takes two inputs. It has two ports, A port and B port. So this through this A port, it takes one input from this multiplexer. But this multiplexer is taking two inputs. One is constant value 4, and the other one is your the register Y value. Okay, and here after selecting Y, so Y value is coming here, and we are giving odd signal. So whenever I'm giving odd signal, so one operand I am taking from here because select Y is done, so Y value is coming here, and the other operand will be taken directly from this bus, common bus, through this port B. Okay, so odd means you will take this Y, and the other operand will take from this bus, then it will add. Okay, so after adding, the result will get the result, and that result will go to this Z register. So if you want to give the result Z register, so Z in must be activated. That's a Z in is activated. Okay. Then Z out means data will go to this common bus. Okay. Then R1 in. So we must store the result in the R1 list. That's R1. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you do this one at home, this is your homework. Okay. You just write, keep this R1 register within bracket. Within bracket you keep. Okay, and again you write the steps of a complete instruction execution. Okay, is that clear? This is your homework. Okay, so whatever I discussed, it is written here in this slide. Okay, this is the step one. Okay, it is explained here, step one. Okay, in step one we do this PC out, MAR in, read, then select for add Z in. Okay, then step two we do this Z out, PC in, Y in, WMFC. Step 3, MDR out and IR. So up to this step, the instruction is fetched. Okay, and then the step 4 onwards, the operand is fetched and they are added. Okay, and the result is stored in the register R1. Okay. So here in step 7th step, the result is written in the R1 register and then end. Okay. So this is how a complete instruction execution is done, and these are the control steps. They are the sequence of steps for executing the complete instruction in a single bus processor architecture. Okay, so this is the single bus processor architecture. Okay. Okay. So in single bus processor architecture, the problem is there is only one bus. Okay, so at a time only one data can go through the bus. Multiple data cannot be transferred because only one single bus is there. And if you want to transfer data from any register to any other register or whatever you want to do, the data will go through the bus, common bus. But there is only one bus. So at one point of time only one data will go. Okay, that's why in the control steps you can see that there are multiple steps are there and multiple control signals are there. Okay, so the control signals are very long. Okay, and the steps are also large number of steps are there for executing the instructions. So to reduce that, we can use multiple bus so that multiple data can be transferred parallelly. Okay, so that is the multi-bus organization. In multi-bus organization of processor, okay, in multi-bus processor architecture, we use multiple bus. So all the components of the processor, they are connected to this multiple bus, and the data can be transferred parallel. Okay, so you can see here in this diagram. Here there are three buses: bus A, bus B, and bus C, and these are the components of the processor. Okay, so you see here there is a register file here. Okay, so in the single bus processor architecture, we know that there are some general purpose registers from R0 to Rn-1. But here in this case, in multi-bus processor architecture, all the general purpose registers, they are combined into a single block. Okay, and that is known as a register file. So here all those registers are present here, but they are combined into a single block, and that block is known as a register file. So here register file, it does not mean it's a single, it's only one register. It is actually a collection of multiple registers, right? And you can see here this register file has three ports. It has one input port and there are two output ports from this register file. That means two register data from two register can go to these buses. So one data is going to one data from one register is going to this bus A, and the other register data is going to this bus B. Okay, and if you want to write some data, okay, you can write the data will come from this bus C, and then it will be written here in some register. Okay, so it has one input port, two output ports. Similarly, you can see here PC program counter. So program counter input is connected to this bus C and output is connected to this bus B. Okay, and there is an incrementer here, so that is used to increment the program counter value. Okay, then ALU is present here, and ALU has two inputs. One input is it is taking from this bus C, direct input, and the other input it is taking from this multiplexer. Okay, and this multiplexer has two inputs. One is constant 4 value, and the other input is it is taking from this bus A. Okay, then the ALU is giving one output, and that output is connected to this bus C. Okay, then there is an instruction decoder here, you can see. So this instruction decoder is connected here to this instruction register. Okay, and this instruction register is connected to this bus. So the instruction is coming to the instruction register through this bus. Okay, and yeah, instruction will come to the instruction register from where? It will come from this MDR. Okay, from MDR the instruction will come to either to this bus B or bus C, and this yes, then that will go from this either bus B or bus C. It will go to the bus C. Then from bus C, they will go to this instruction register IR. Okay, and MAR is there. So MAR is connected to this bus C. So the address will come through this bus C, and that will be loaded into this register MAR. Okay. So yeah, this MDR is connected to this memory bus. Okay, memory data bus, and MAR is connected to the memory address bus. Okay, so this is the multi-bus organization. Okay, and you may get question that explain the multi-bus organization with diagram. Okay, so we have to draw this diagram and explain. Right? Any question? Okay. So since there is no question, I'm moving to the next slide. So these things I already explained. Register file is used. Okay. Bus A, B, and C are used. Okay. Yes. Yes. So here, if we want to transfer data directly from, see, whatever data is going to this bus C from this ALU, either the data is executed, it is processed, or the data may be transferred directly from this bus B or bus C. Okay, to this bus C. Okay, if you want to transfer data directly from this bus B to bus C, then how to do that? It will come through this path, through this ALU. But if you want that the data should not be processed, it will be just forwarded to this bus C, then you have to write this way. R equals to A means the data is just forwarded from this bus A to this bus C. Then R equals to B means the data is forwarded from this bus B to this bus C. Directly it is forwarded, it is not processed. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So R equals to A means data from bus A is directly forwarded to this bus C without processing. R equals to B means data directly forwarded from bus B to bus C directly without processing by the ALU. Okay. Okay. Now suppose we have this instruction add R4, R5, and R6. Okay. Now what's the meaning of this instruction? Can you tell me?
Sir, add R4 and R5 and store in R6.
Yes. Add R4, R5, and store the result in R6. Okay. Now how to do this by using this multi-bus organization processor? Now let us see. So the control sequence is like this. Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, we have to fetch this instruction. Okay. So for fetching the instruction, what to do? PCR out. We have to activate PCR out. A PC out. We have to activate PC program counter out flag. Okay. so that the address will um, go from this PC to this bus B. Okay. Now the address of the next instruction means address of this instruction. Okay, is present in bus C. So then what to do? Where should that address go? Tell me. That address should be loaded in MAR, but the address will go through this ALU only because there is only one path. So from B it will go to this bus C. Yes or no? So you just want to forward that address from bus C to this bus C. Okay, so how to do that? I just told you in the previous slide. You have to write this R equals to B. R equals to B means what? The data from register bus B will just forwarded to this bus C. So R equals to B means with that. Okay. Now the address comes to bus C, and from bus C it will go to this MAR, memory address register. So if you want to transfer that address to MAR, then you must activate this MAR in flag. So MAR in is activated. Then when the address is loaded into this MAR register, address in the that particular address is identified in the memory. So after that, what to do? You have to the control unit will send this generate the read signal. So that read signal is written here. Okay. Then what to do? In fetch step, what to do? We increment the program counter value. So that's why here INC PC means the program counter value is incremented to point to the next instruction. Okay. So then the processor will wait. So we have given all the instruction read signal is given to the memory. Then processor will wait this time. WMFC will wait. So now it is waiting. So after it receive this MFC signal, okay, then only data will come to the MDR from the memory. Okay. So you see MDR out. So we here received processor receives the MFC signal. After it receives the MFC signal, that means data, this instruction, okay, this instruction is present in the MDR. Okay. So you have to transfer the instruction from this MDR to the bus. Okay. So MDR out is done. So MDR is connected here. See, MDR is connected to which um, bus? It is connected to this bus A, and bus B also it is connected. Okay. Now MDR out B is done. You see, MDR out B. That means the instruction will go to this bus B. Okay. Then bus B is connected to this ALU here. So R equals to B is done. Okay. R equals to B is done. So R equals to B is done means what? The instruction will go just the instruction will be forwarded from this bus B to this bus C. Okay. Then IR in. So the instruction will be transferred to this instruction register. Okay. Then from here instruction register, from the instruction register, the instruction will be taken and will be decoded by this instruction decoder. Okay. And then the instruction, after the instruction decoder decodes this instruction, it will generate some control signals. I mean, what should be done? Control signal means what is the meaning of the instruction, what operation will be done. That signal will be given by this instruction decoder, and that will be given to this bus. Okay. So after that, we will, the instruction will be executed. So here we got to know that what to do after to this step. Okay, up to these three steps. Then what to do in the fourth step, we will fetch the operands and then we'll add. Okay. So you see here, the operands are fetched because here, what are the operands? R4 is the operand, then R5 is another operand. These two are the source operands, and R6 is the destination operands. So you have to read this R4 from the register. All are registers. Okay. So there is no issue. There is no problem in, no need to go to the memory because all the operands are in a register. Directly we can read. So you can just do R4 out, you can do R5 out. Okay, and then you can just add these two, okay, and store result in R6. Okay, so now see how it is done. So R4 out A, R4 out A means what? So R4 is present in this register file. So R4 out A means data will go from this R4 register to the A bus, to the bus A. Okay. Similarly, R4 out B means what? Data will go from this R5 register. R5 out B means data will go from the R5 register to this bus B. Okay. Now in bus A we have R4 registered data. In bus B we have R5 registered data. Now we will add. Okay. Now you see here R4 is this bus A is connected to this multiplexer, bus B is connected to this port B of this ALU. Okay, so this bus A has data what, R4. See, you have to select what, select A. Select A means the data which is present in A, that is R4 data, will be selected to, and it will go to this input A of this ALU. And then R. R means it will take one data from this port, the other data will take from this bus B. Okay, then it will R, and then the result it will give here, and that result will go to this bus. Okay, so then from this bus, the result will go to this register R6. R6 register, you can see destination register is the R6. So R6 in is done. Okay, so it will go to this R6 register, R6 register this way. Okay, so R6 in is done. Then end. Okay, so this is how this instruction is executed using multi-bus processor architecture. Now you can see here, this is done using only 4 steps. Okay, so this is the advantage of multi-bus organization. You can do things parallelly. Okay. So any question? Any question, students? So no question. I'm moving to the next content. Now generating control signals. So I discussed many times that the control unit is generating read signal for reading data from memory. Control unit is generating write signal to write data in the memory. Now the question is how these control signals are generated. So these control signals are generated by the control unit. Now we will discuss here how control unit generates these control signals. Okay. So there are two types of control units to generate these control signals. I mean, to generate these read write signals or other control signals, there are two types of control units. Okay, there is a control unit in the processor. You know that. So there are two types of control unit. The first control unit is your hardware control unit, and the second control unit is microprogrammed control unit. Okay, this hardware control unit is very fast. Okay, because it uses hardware to generate the control signals. Okay, and this microprogram control unit uses the microprograms or the software. Okay, to generate the control signals. And this microprogram control unit is very flexible, and the complex operations, complex control signals can be generated by using this microprogram control unit, because it is a software based. And this hardware control unit is very fast, but the problem with this is complex instructions cannot be generated, because if you change the instructions or your instruction is complex, then you have to do that type of wiring, because you are using hardware to generate the signal. Okay, so you have to connect and disconnect all the wirings. Okay, that many times it will be very complex. Okay, so let us discuss first the hardware control unit. So just I told you that hardware control unit uses hardwares. Now these are the hardwares used by hardware control unit. Logic gates are used, flip flops are used, decoders and other digital circuits are used to make this hardware control unit. Okay, and the advantage of hardware control unit is it is very fast. Okay, it is high speed. Okay. And the disadvantage of hardware control unit is it is less flexible. Okay, and the complexity of instructions set is can be implemented is very limited here in this case. Okay, if the instruction is very complex, then to generate the control signal is not possible in case of hardware control unit. Okay, that's why in case of RISC architecture, we use this hardware control unit, because RISC is simple. Okay, RISC is reduced instruction set. Computer architecture, that is simple. Okay, instruction is very simple, and in that case we are using this hardware control unit. Okay, it is very fast, but complex instructions cannot be done. Okay, so if you do this, then you have to change wirings. Okay, various component wiring you have to change. Okay, though that is not possible. These are the problems. Okay, the advantage, it is very fast, and disadvantage is this. Okay, question, any question? Okay, Since there is no question, I'm moving to the next slide. So this is the diagram for hardware control unit. You can see here the hardware control unit has these components. Okay, so it has a decoder, then it has a encoder, and it is attached to a external input. It is also attached to a condition codes input. Okay, then there is a clock here, and clock is generating clock signal, and based on this clock signal, the control step counter is there that counts the number of steps. These steps are counted here. Okay, and these steps are counted by using these clock signals. Okay, and the instruction register is connected to this decoder and encoder logic also. Okay, so I told you that the instructions are present in the instruction register, and then these instructions are taken by the control unit decoder and encoder logic for decoding the instructions. Okay, and after decoding the instructions, the control signals are generated here. You can see these are the control signals. Okay, so instructions are taken from this instruction register. They are decoded. After decoding, they are again encoded to the control signals. Several types of control signals are there, right? Like your read signal, write signal. Okay, so many types of control signals are there, and they are generated here. Okay, so first of all, the instruction is taken from this instruction register, that is decoded, and the decoded instruction is again encoded by using this encoder, and it also uses these external inputs like memory function completed signal is there. Okay, then some condition codes are also there, like your register status, RI in, RI out, all these are there. Okay, so this takes the inputs from here, and it takes the control step counter from this clock generator. This clock generates the clock cycle. Based on that, which instruction will be executed at what time, that it takes from here. Okay, and after taking all these inputs, it generates these control signals. Okay, let us take one example for executing these instructions. Okay, these are all instructions for executing that these instruction the, for executing this instruction add R3 R1. Okay, you can see these are the control steps or sequence of steps of execution. Okay, so we will generate these control sequences or control signals will be generated. How these are generated by using the hardware control unit, we'll discuss that now. Okay, now let us see that. Okay, so these are the control signals. These need to be generated by this control unit. Okay, using the hardware control unit. So in the step one, we have PC out, then MAR in, then read, select for R, Z in, and in step two we have Z out, PC in, Y in, and WMC. So likewise, we have all other control signals. Okay, so each step in this sequence is completed in one clock period. Okay, each step, each of these steps, they are completed in one clock period. Okay, a counter may be used to keep track of control steps. Okay, so you can see this is the counter. So this is used to keep track of these steps. Means which step is executed at what time. So that is taken care by this control step counter. Okay. The required control signals are determined by following information. So contents of control step counter is used. This is used, and content of instruction register. This is also used. So all these are given as input to this encoder decoder, the control unit. This is the control unit. Okay. So it takes input from here, this side from the instruction register, takes input from this side from these external inputs and condition codes, and also takes input from this control step counter. Okay, then it generates the control signals.